Welcome to Charcast Season 2, Episode 1, where we will be exploring gaming and geek culture through the hills and hollows of West Virginia. I'm Travis.
I'm Dave.
I'm Doug.
I'm Chris.
Well, how's it going, guys?
I'm tired.
We've had a long day.
Has been a long day.
It was a long day. We
did a thing today, which you'll be seeing coming out soon. I think we think everybody will like it.
So. Yep. It was a lot of fun.
I like it. I previewed it already. I've watched everything we filmed, and it looks good.
All right.
Awesome. Very excited about it.
It was fun.
So we're going to go right into talking about an upcoming event in our region, which is the annual Origins Game Fair that takes place in Columbus, Ohio. I know Dave and I will be there. Doug isn't going this year, but he's been many times, and Chris hasn't been, but would love to go.
It is legend.
Yeah. It's one of the bigger game conventions in the country. We really like it a lot. What are you going to miss, you think, Doug, about it?
What am I going to miss? North Market?
The North Market is
North
very
Market.
missable.
Yeah. I think that over anything else. And obviously I like playing new games. And some years I like taking that game that I tinker with occasionally, but I think I'm done with that one.
Well, I'm looking forward to Origins this year. So, working in the Queen booth this year again. So, we've spent a lot of time learning games this past few weeks.
We have. We put in a lot of time.
Copenhagen, Luxor.
Is Copenhagen the only new game?
No, we have Luxor the Mummy, which is an expansion for Luxor, which is a very.
And
good.
I still like Luxor. For what it is. Obviously, I lean towards something else, but I like Luxor.
It's cool. I like that one.
We'll have the Arthur expansion for Merlin, which we had at PAX, but we only had 20 copies.
Okay.
Right.
All right.
And we'll have Skylands Bastille franchise, which we didn't have last year at Origins or Gencon. They came out at Essen, so those are new to the U.S. So
I think I like franchise the most out of those.
Yeah. I think maybe Bastille. I think I like Bastille.
I've not played Bastille, actually.
Oh, okay.
I like franchise a lot.
Did you not play when we did the live stream here?
I managed the stream. That was the first time we tried streaming. It had some technical issues with bandwidth and stuff. That's why I was watching it
I know
the whole time.
Ian.
Yeah, it was me, you, and Ian played.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking forward to that. We're going to be busy.
Yes.
We know that.
Our events are already sold out.
I think you told me our events were sold out. Like the events opened up, and within a day.
Well, you said 70% of the events, all your play-to-wins, and everything Wednesday.
Yeah, all that's sold out pretty much. There may be one game on Wednesday that has seats.
Yeah, it's going to be a busy
It won't.
time,
So if you want to play something on Wednesday,
get signed up.
They're one of the few booths open on Wednesday?
We are one of the few booths open. Now, there's some other scheduled stuff, but we're one of the few booths that'll be open.
Yep.
Because we're in the sponsor, the tabletop hall. We're in Hall A405.
Even though you have things scheduled, can you still stop by and check something out?
We'll have some demo tables. We can't let you play the whole game, but come by. We'll demo Copenhagen for you, and at times we'll have some other stuff on the table.
Yep, probably Luxor. Enough to make a decision, I'm sure.
Yeah, right.
I had a quick game of Luxor in enough to know I liked it.
Yeah.
Yep, but no, looking forward to it. Like you said, North Market, maybe hit, what is it, Schmidt's?
North Market, of course. Love to go to Schmidt's.
Yeah,
I'm not a big, heavy food person. That's why I don't miss Schmidt's.
Yeah, I like Schmidt's.
I like that, that was in Indianapolis, actually. The make-your-own sushi place.
Oh, yeah, that place is good.
Where was that?
There was one of those, actually, in Lexington. I looked it up when I was there.
Good sushi. It's called, I've eaten there. It's out by the mall.
It was, in the mall when I went, or on the outside of the mall building.
Yeah, it's right beside Gordman's. It's
So, for you seem to not know, there are a couple of these places that it doesn't seem like they're a franchise, but you pick your rice, and then you pick if you want cucumber or soy or seaweed wrap. Then you pick your fillings, and then your toppings, and it's like a Subway for sushi.
Yeah. And they've got some recipes we can choose. I want one of these.
Roll your own.
Change that.
Yeah, I'm a sashimi kind of guy. I'd fight a grizzly bear for a pregnancy.
See, this stuff,
it's not
the freshest stuff, and they had some strange stuff. What was it, braised beef and salmon?
Yeah, and it was actually surprisingly delicious.
It's for people who don't like traditional sushi.
The rolls are about that big around.
Oh, you can get the burgushi, like the burger sushi.
Sure, yeah, so kind of like that.
Okay.
Yeah,
there's actually a good new sushi place in Taze Valley. It's a ramen place. Has these huge 1/4-inch thick ramen. It's a lot like, what is it, udon? but they do poke bowls, and they're pretty good.
Yeah, food's always a big thing at Origins, if you can't tell.
There's one in South Charleston at Riverwalk
Okay.
that does ramen.
I think I've heard that, and I'm not seeing it
I went there.
yet.
It's pretty good.
So
If you ever remind me at Gencon, I'll tell you where the sushi place is.
Hell yeah.
It's a Uber ride, but
There's a literary
But-
bar up there I want to hit while we're up there.
For the Uber ride, just get somebody to refer you, get a free ride, refer someone else who rides with you to get a free ride back. You got it.
Radio. Yeah.
For us, that was enough to get the ride and the tip.
Sneaky. Yeah.
So that and what is it? Is it Brawling Brothers and
yeah,
Blue
it's
Peg
the
Pink
mashup
Peg?
meetup. It's Brawling Brothers, Blue Peg, Pink Peg, and Man vs. Meeple.
Yeah, that was a good time. Last year they were a little crowded, but I think they got a bigger space this year, so that's going to be a little better.
Yeah, that's correct. And
we're doing a media night or something.
yeah, well, in our booth, we've invited any media that was on the list with board games. We send them an invite, and they can basically come to our booth Wednesday night from 8 to 10 and play games. So that'll be a busy time, too. We've already got over 20 media sources that have replied and said they're coming.
Is the
Is that in
Charcast
place-
guy, or the Charcast guys going to be there?
Yeah, they will be there.
Oh,
yes.
okay, good.
They'll be on the other end, though, right?
Right.
Is that in place of media like stopping by throughout the
Yeah,
week?
I mean, I
'Cause
normally
often you have-
schedule appointments, and as you guys know, I'm busy doing.
You never can do anything.
Right. So instead of doing that, I said, why don't we just pick one night and invite all of them to come, and we can talk to them about our new stuff, and they can play some games. So I'm hoping that's going to work much better.
Yeah, well, still looking forward to it. Origins,
Yeah.
Origins 2019.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's a couple weeks away now.
It's like 10 days, right?
It's Father's Day weekend every year.
Yeah.
Not that you guys would know. It's not like your fathers or anything, right?
Right? Yeah, I don't know anything
Yeah,
about
I
that.
used to take flack for that, but we've been doing it for so long.
Well, you're the father. It's not like you're missing Mother's Day.
Right, that's right. All right.
How much flack would you get for that?
It's your day.
And a lot.
Treat yourself.
That's right.
You got it.
Hi, Travis's
Oh, yeah.
Kathy.
It's
All right.
Father's Day.
So enough about Origins. Let's talk about Chris Dehart. He's our guest on today's episode.
First in-person
Huzzah.
guest we've had in a long time.
It is
Yeah.
a while. We've had several, but it's been a while since we've had one.
In person. I'm even in my Human guys.
Yeah, you're
That's
here
right.
today.
Human.
Human.
So
For now.
Chris
Yeah.
is going to be the guest of honor cosplay guest at Charcon this year, and his pedigree for doing that is that he is the 2018 Best in Show winner for the Gencon costume contest,
Yeah.
which is pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is.
What was the costume?
It was a steampunk lich.
Okay.
So, I work for the Pure Steam game, developing characters and cosplay. Like, I do the cosplay first, and then
Yeah, I think I might have seen a bit of that today.
the characters will get drawn up if they like the cosplay enough. Well, this one was we wanted a lich, but we wanted a steampunk twist on it. So we had big gears up his arm and reanimate fluid tubes like running all over him, and I had UV LEDs in my top hat, making the black light paint on my face react.
Nice.
Oh,
Yeah,
that sounds
it
cool.
was-
That sounds cool.
It worked all very well. It's because do my latex prosthetics, costuming, the whole spiel.
So you brought some of your bling with you here.
Yeah, man. I've been trying for a few years to win Gen Con. I got second place in 15 and 16 in my category.
So what's with the Thor theming on the silver medal? I
That
take
was
it.
like the first big, awesome Avengers movie came out that year, and Josh Whedon was there.
Oh, that was
as a
2015. That was
Josh
the
Whedon was a judge.
Joss.
Josh.
Oh,
Scuze,
okay.
scuze.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that was after Age of Ultron. It looks like 2015.
Man, I don't. They had some big burlesque dance where all the chicks were dressed as Avengers, and they dressed.
I remember.
How'd you like that, Joss?
It was pretty awesome. Female Thor, amazing haircut.
Yeah.
Cool.
But you were runner-up that year.
Yeah, man, I kept getting second.
But I see 2 golds on the table. So
Yeah. So
explain two golds to me.
So it goes back to 2017, where I had highlighter juice as reanimate fluid, as UV reactant reanimate fluid. I sprung a leak walking a mile to the con in the super heat, and by the time I made it to registration, I was leaking, and I had to disqualify myself.
You were leaking fluids.
I had to withdraw. Yeah, one drop of fluid on a stage could kill somebody. Break a neck or whatever. I understand. So the very same costume with my costume problems fixed, it won the thing. I got first place in my category, and then they brought us up, and everybody from the category got voted on, and I wound up with best in show.
Cool. All right.
That's awesome, man. I know I saw the costume. It was excellent.
Yeah.
Blew me away.
I mean, that's about like Flavor Flav clock size, man.
Dude, right? Yeah, the guys were like, I had to work the vendor hall the next day, and they're like, why aren't you wearing your medals? Like,
Exactly.
you need to be coming in here like flashing that stuff. Like,
Bling.
How about you make a
Bling,
VH1 reality show called Cosplay of Love?
only if I can get married to Red Sonja.
Right?
Yeah.
Why? I'd be wearing those all the time. Probably the Thor one.
Who's that?
Probably the hammer.
Brigitte Nielsen?
I did. It was Brigitte Nielsen.
Did you see her in the last Creed movie? She came back in the last Creed
Wow.
movie. Spoilers for a
Wow.
6-month-old movie. Because she was the scientist with Drago in the first, and it turns out she was the mom of his kid.
So can you give us any hits for 2019?
Oh yeah. So I don't get to pick my cosplay because I work for the game, the
Right.
Pure Steam RPG. So every year I'm like, all right, guys.
Hold it up for the camera.
Yeah. This is the second manual actually.
Westbound.
Westbound. This is everything west of the Heart Flow, which is the Mississippi River in our alternate timeline. So I got my first character I used to do for them is a Hobgoblin dude, Hobgoblin gunslinger, and he got statted up and put in there.
So you're doing characters straight from the book, or characters that
You know,
players design?
I think you explained you actually
I
do the
a
cosplay first.
I do the cosplay based upon what I know and what I can do.
Yeah.
And then if they like that, it'll get statted up.
See,
and
I heard that
incorporated.
backwards.
So have they asked you to do something specific this year?
Yes. So on the cover of the other manual, which I don't have, which you can look up on PureSteamRPG.com or just Google it or whatever. There's a dwarf dude on the cover of that with this like steam cannon, and that's one of our main archetype characters for the Gearhead. He's Burrigan. Well, what they want next year is a high level version of Burrigan. So I gotta make a mech suit. I gotta weaponize the arms. I can't do like an auger arm because that's real big daddy Bioshock. So we gotta steer clear of the auger arm.
Do a pile driver arm.
Mayhaps. It depends on what I can get, So I have to be I'm going to make him older because I can't look exactly like my buddy BJ. This character is already based off of one of our staff.
Mm-hmm.
The guy that composed our music and does like copy review and rules editing and stuff like that. He's a great musician. Soft Servo is his Pandora channel. Like we have two CDs of Pure Steam music.
Is that a plug? Soft Servo?
Yeah, it's really cool. I mean,
Well, he's been up here, right?
yeah. BJ's been to Charcon. I think he ran some games for you guys, maybe. Or
I think he didn't play music.
yeah, we did a digital. He did a digital ensemble. I think at the show before Corey and them played one night.
Nice.
I think he opened for Chud. Maybe I'm not sure how
yeah,
that happened
I think
there.
so.
Heck, I watched the movie Chud last night.
Yes.
So
It's about like going to a Chud
Underground.
concert.
it's a dwarf. You're 5'11".
Right. So that's the trick. I'm going to make boots. And so I already did a costume where I was a goblin in a mech suit, and I had this little goblin body mounted to my
I
chest.
remember that one.
And he's working the controls as I walk and move and stuff.
So your body was the mech.
Yeah, I'm the mech.
Oh,
and I had
gotcha.
this little goblin body. Like, his feet were right here.
With
He had, like-
a big old man head.
yeah.
It's kind of like Quatu.
Now that
from,
your head's like...
from
I'm a
Total
small
Recall.
head.
Huh?
I'm proud how small movie. So I've already done this once, so now I got to make it look like I've got boots sticking out like roughly just below my knees, and
Okay.
we're
We
gonna
got
try that. And
Gotcha.
then my arms will be encased in weaponry, so I won't have to fudge that any.
Right.
That's awesome.
Okay.
I gotta make a big bulbous nose. I'm gonna make some orange and gray eyebrows. I gotta orange up my beard and throw some gray in it. Like
Well, you got the
Some
beard.
contacts,
for it already,
maybe?
so
blue
that's good.
contacts. I'm gonna get some blue contacts for that dwarven bloodline. Like BJ's got blue eyes, I think. Basically, yeah. Instead of trying to look like BJ or cast his face and just wear his face, which would be pretty weird. But,
I'll go for it.
I know, right? I think I'm just gonna do an older version of him.
I think you should do it.
I want like. If I could talk him into getting a head cast, yeah. That
Well, I look forward to seeing that, man. It's gonna be awesome.
If I could cast his head and then like all 4 or 5 of us be like BJ one day at the con, it'd be so damn weird.
That would be kind of creepy. So for anybody who is watching, if you're a fan of costuming, Chris is going to be doing a panel that has to do with latex prosthetic application. He'll show you, how to apply it. He makes his own, so he'll talk to you about that. And he'll go from human Chris to hobgoblin Chris or something other than normal Chris in a matter of a couple of hours.
And you're actually going to cast something at the convention, right?
Yeah, we'll do. Or I'm going to do. This is for miniatures. We'll do a silicon and resin casting little panel.
That'll be another.
That's a different panel.
Yeah, totally different panel.
You're not going to wear the
man of many
miniatures on your
talents.
face.
I might.
Hey, why not? Yeah. You can do it. You can just cosplay. Do whatever you want.
Mass
right?
produce a bunch of orcs and just start gluing them on.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right. So watch for those panels. They'll be going in our schedule soon. And Chris is also going to try and get some of the Pure Steam guys to come and run some Pure Steam. It's Pathfinder based, so if you've played Pathfinder, you already know a lot of the rules. So
Right.
It is Pathfinder.
If you know, I think you were talking about the archetypes and how they transfer from, a cleric would be a.
Yeah, the cleric is called the chaplain, and it's like they have these elocution powers that are kind of like Bene Gesserit voice or mind
From
control.
Dune.
Yeah,
Right.
it's sort of like they can stun somebody with a word or bolster the party's spirit with like the right oration or whatever.
That's cool.
And instead of the wizard, of course, we've got gearheads. So
Right.
instead of your schools of magic, you have elemental powers or electricity, pneumatics, electromagnetism, as opposed to your schools of magic.
Yeah, so that, like you said, if you're familiar with Pathfinder, then you could slot right into that
Well,
relatively easily.
It is Pathfinder,
Right,
Like
right.
it's officially licensed Pathfinder. All you need is the Pathfinder core book,
Okay,
and there's your rules, and this is a expansion setting.
Yeah.
cool.
Awesome.
That's neat.
So Chris, the most important question that we have for you is, how much time do you think will go into you figuring out what your go-to is going to be for what you sing at the Old Crow Karaoke Show on Saturday night at our after party? How much prep is that going to take you?
I don't know. You guys, you'll normally just pick what I'm going to do and tell me at the last
Well,
minute.
that could happen.
Just do an Old Crow medicine show song.
or give us
you know?
a good
Tell
little
it to
hobgoblin
me,
folk song.
Tell it
Yeah.
to
Okay.
me.
There's probably like Wagon Wheel's banned, right? Like you're not allowed to sing Wagon Wheel. Like that's kind of standard.
Just do tell it to me,
Okay.
Drink your corn liquor, let your cocaine be. That's
I might sing Cattle Call. That'd be good.
Yeah, but I do think Wagon Wheel might be a little bit on the nose. Unless you're doing like the Darius Rucker one, right?
Are you a hootie?
Man, that's
Are you a hootie guy?
It's not really
The deep
no,
cut there,
sorry.
I mean, that's
I'm kind of
like a #1 hit
a-hole.
recently.
I don't keep up with it.
The guy from Hootie and the Blowfish covered Wagon Wheel
Okay.
in like the last 2 years and got it to be a huge hit.
He wasn't. He was hootie.
Okay. See, now I know. Now I know who he is.
Nobody was Hootie. Come
He
on.
was Hootie. Good on him. Wish I had the. Yeah.
Well, you've been warned now, so you've got some time to.
You got to
figure out
You got about a month and a half to figure out
cocaine.
your
Man,
figure out your jam.
Yeah.
Good luck.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I've never sung karaoke.
Well, it'll be an adventure.
Yeah.
For everyone.
I'm sorry. In advance.
Apologies in advance.
Please
So,
and thank you.
speaking of panels, if you pre-register, is there like any advantage to that for getting seats into panels?
Well,
or
yes, you can sign up. Seats will be limited for panels, so you can sign up for a seat. Pre-registering is more of an advantage when you're signing up for seats in a pure Steam game when there's only 4 the whole show, or
Yeah, 6 slots per table or something.
whatever it might
Yeah.
be. Those sell out more than panels do. But sure, you anything that's in the catalog, you can sign up for a seat if you pre-register.
And there's RPGs in the right now to be signed up. There's we got Sparks, which is the Star Wars RPG. There's several events already in there. So if you're interested in that, you need to get pre-regged and sign up for a slot. We got a lot of the one-shot RPGs right now,
Yeah.
or a lot of the indie RPGs, I guess you could call them.
Yeah.
Different game systems that are going to be run by various GMs. So again, limited seating. So that's a benefit of pre-registration is getting in there and getting a slot.
Yeah, well, that and the fact that you save $5. I mean, it costs you $5.
Well, there's that.
It
too.
blows my mind that there's so many people who don't just go ahead and pre-register. We love for people to pre-register, even though it costs $5 less because it lets us better gauge how many people are coming to the show, what events did they sign up for, what events are going to be popular. It basically helps with the logistics. So we encourage everyone to pre-register. Pre-registration's open now. Event submission is open now.
What's that website?
Charcon.org.
Yes.
How long do they have?
.org. We usually close it about a week before the show.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
See, I've been on the staff for like 7 years, and I've never paid attention to registration.
That's
It's all right. You don't need to.
yeah.
We got it.
Yeah.
We got it. You do the video stuff, Video
It's
Monkey.
best to compartmentalize. If you have to run every aspect of a con, it'll wear you.
Yeah, he's just our Video
It
Monkey.
does.
So.
It'll wear you out, man.
Yeah, it's about a week before the show. But yeah, and you can sign up for events that are in there. You can submit events. It's all there. And the hotel block is still open too. So as always, we encourage you to get a hotel because it lets you play games late, not have to worry about driving home and getting up and early and coming back. It lets you partake
Especially
in,
after the Old Crow.
right, the old things like
karaoke
our after
show.
party
Yeah.
or our Out Loud event on Friday night.
I wish I got I live, 15 minutes away. I wish I got a hotel last year. I ran home. No, I took someone to see a movie, and then I was going to come back to the Old Crow karaoke show, and my gas gauge doesn't work, so I ran out of gas. And I've been conning and live streaming all day, so I didn't have my phone.
Oh god.
I ended up walking like a mile and a half both ways to the nearest gas station,
Dude.
calling emergency patrol or whatever they are from the gas
Courtesy
station.
patrol.
Courtesy patrol.
That's a pretty intricate story to have avoided having to sing karaoke.
That's true.
right.
Damn,
Oh,
I can't use that one now.
Don't believe him, yeah.
Yeah, rooms are like $69 a night. So even if you only get one on Saturday night, it's worth doing it.
Right.
Charcon after hours.
Look, you've seen me
is
Gangnam Style. You know I'm not too shy to karaoke.
Right. Chris has been for after parties. He
I
was saying.
love it. You don't have like Charcon is right up there with Dragon Con for me on level of like fun. Like it's a good time,
Except the
pretty
elevators aren't nearly as stuffed.
right? Yeah.
From what I hear, I've never been to Dragon Con. Probably never will.
I haven't either. It's on my
Nope.
list.
Yep, bucket list.
It's on my list.
Absolutely.
It's not at the top of my list, though. I mean, I'd much rather. You've been to Essen. I'd rather go to Essen than Dragon Con.
Right. I mean, I'd love to go back to Essen. It was
They're
fun.
they're not competing necessarily, but I'm not going to be able to go to both in the same year.
Right. Yeah,
Yep.
Dragon Con is on my list. I want to go. While I'm still able to go down and party and have a good time.
Excellent.
It's epic.
You know, another thing we're going to do at Charcon is we have a segment where for about 4 or 5 hours we're going to do live streams.
That's right.
We committed to doing a Charcast live where we allow the audience to be there and maybe participate in some way. Who knows? We haven't quite sorted all that out yet, but that was part of our Kickstarter. It was a stretch goal, and we decided to just grow it. We're going to have us, and then we're going to have Jared Bailey and his Pew Pew podcast, which is typically a podcast where they live play RPGs, but he's going to do it live there, on the stream.
Right.
And then we're going to have some of the Blue Peg, Pink Peg guys there, which is a very big board game podcast.
Yep.
They're very popular, so we're excited to have them. And we think we have one other. We haven't confirmed it yet, so it'll be 4 or 5 hours because we'll do it at 45 minutes, and Jared's going to do just short of 2 hours, and the Blue Peg, Pink Peg guys will do 45
If anybody watching this would actually tell us what you would like to see from us live, I think that'd be handy.
Yeah.
I don't know if we need to
Within
just
reason.
hand around wireless mics, if we need to play a game with an audience member or something. Who knows?
Yeah, we're open to whatever. Comments,
Whatever, within reason.
reasonable, whatever.
Put on makeup while they play the game. Turn everybody into hobgoblins over 3 hours
Yeah.
while you're playing the game.
I'm down for that.
Yeah.
Let's try to get Jason on.
Yeah.
Oh, Jason will come on. Absolutely.
Jason, when we say Jason, we mean...
Oh, Jason Matthews. 'Cause
Yes.
Jason will be a guest for us this
I
year.
don't know if the camera can see it, but I've got like a Jason Matthews shelf behind
Is
Travis's
that your
head.
stalker shelf back there?
Well, it's funny. When I met him, and I think I've told this story on the show before, or maybe not. I think I'm embarrassed by it. When I met him, I didn't think I liked war games, and I was telling him what my favorite games were, and I was saying Arkham Horror or TI3, whatever was out at the time, Battlestar. And he asked, have you tried Twilight Struggle? And I was like, man, that's crap.
Oh my god.
We got to be friends anyway, and I think that same year over Thanksgiving break, Charlie Davis taught it to me, and I got snowed snow kept me from traveling to work, so I played it 20 times that week with my roommate. He liked it. I liked it. He was more into it than I was simply because I'd won every time, and he kept trying to beat me.
Right.
It took me like 4 or 5 years to get beaten by Josh. Is that his name?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, I forget his last name right now. But
Josh the bed puker.
Right. He finally beat me. We played about 5 or 6 games before that happened. Jordan, my brother, played a game of it the other day on the PC, and we were just passing a laptop back and forth. And what did he do? I told him, if you have a scoring card, you've got to play it. And he thought like somehow, even though I told him like this is your last card, you got to do it, he thought somehow the game wouldn't let him do anything else if he really had to do it. So he tested it and he lost the game after like 2 hours because he wanted to be smart.
Right. Yeah. So he'll be there. I just saw he posted on Facebook that he was playtesting a new game for International Tabletop Day at his local game store over in the Labyrinth, I think it's called, over in D.C.
Yeah, I've been printing a copy of that game. Some other guy contacted me about it. It seems pretty cool.
Oh, is there a play and print for it?
Yeah, I got it. I don't have the ability to print the rest of it. Print and play.
So is Jason working on developing it to be published then? Is that the...
I don't know the whole story. Some other person contacted me and said, I'm designing a game with Jason Matthews. I've seen your reviews. Here's the print and play files. Check it out.
Well, I'm sure he'll bring it with him to be play tested while it's here. It's based upon the trial of Aaron Burr, right?
Oh, whoa.
Yeah.
I think that's the
So
one.
it's the courtroom aspect of the trial of Aaron Burr. So
that should be interesting.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll do one for Inherit the Wind. That'd be
awesome. He also has Imperial Struggle coming sometime. IP500 did that forever ago.
Right.
That's the first. That's
P500 through GMT.
Right. That's his return to designing with Ananda Gupta.
Right.
Yeah.
Who wasn't able to design games for
He had a non-compete clause with a video game company that he worked for, is what I heard.
Right. Yeah, that's what I heard.
And so the two of them designed the classic Twilight Struggle. Jason went on to design a number of other games with Daniel?
Christian Leonard.
Christian Leonard. 1960, which I love.
1960 is great.
Reformation
Founding Fathers, yeah.
Campaign Manager.
Which has been essentially remade
Campaign
as
Manager
Reformation. Sola Fide, the Reformation. That's what I meant. Sola
Yeah.
Fide, which I have. I've got Campaign Manager somewhere.
I like Campaign Manager.
But yeah, looking forward to having Jason there again this year.
He's not been around in a while. It's been like 2012 or something since he was at Charcon.
Has it been that long?
It's been a while.
That was before I played
the
Twilight Struggle, before it became my number one rated game.
I'm sure he will regale everyone with the story of me leaving him and Christian both standing on the street corner after the after party, me flipping him in the bird as the doors closed on the bus. And
I feel like Steve Frame did that to me one time when I was trying to get his truck home.
The same year.
That's why guests come back again and again.
Pretty sure
because of the great treatment.
I'm pretty sure.
Abuse and love.
So I had just convinced them that we should go to another bar after closing out the bar we were at to see a band play because Steve Frame told me that's what we were going to do. So Steve and I were like, yeah, let's do that. So I was like, we're going to this, and they're discussing it. And Kathy was like, we're not going. We're going. I'm tired. We're going to the hotel. So I got in the hotel. I got on the bus, and they look around looking for me, and they see me on the bus, and the doors close, and I was like, F you bitches, and the door closes and takes off. And the next day, they come up to me and they're like, oh, and I'm like, what? So yeah, that's.
It's always a bad day.
Yeah, that's what you have to look forward to, Chris.
Oh, there's been a few Charcons where I've come in Sunday and they're like, so Chris, tell us about, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, what, man? Like, did I say that?
Right. So anyway, I'm sure Jason, he'll sit in and who knows who else. We can have several guests, I think. So. And we'll talk more on panels on a future one, right? We just talked about Chris's, but I think we're going to talk about our full breadth of panels this year. We'll have Rachel on as a guest sometime in the next few weeks. And then Matt's going to be a guest soon, too, to talk about our RPG offerings.
All right, cool.
Matt, not the Dr. Smith.
Matt, not the Dr. Smith.
Right.
That's right.
Got it.
Right. So let's talk about what we've been playing.
Sorry for your ears.
Yeah.
Nice segue, Travis.
Thanks.
Oh, I feel like my segue was smoother.
Right. Yeah. What have you been playing, Dave?
Well, what have I been playing? So, one of the games I played recently, and when I say play, it's sort of half played because the game is Red Alert Space Warfare. It is a Command and Colors game from Richard Borg. So if you're familiar with Command and Colors, that's the system that includes Command and Colors Ancients, Command and Colors Medieval, Command and Colors Napoleonic, Memoir 44, Battle Cry,
Battle Lore,
Battle Lore, yes.
the Game of Thrones one.
Well, sort of.
Close enough.
Westeros.
Battles of
Westeros. So yeah, it's a game system.
There's also a Japanese one.
Yeah.
There's World War One when you
There's
said right.
the Great War.
There was
Yes.
and
What's
there
that
was also
one with
like
the
a mech
square
warrior one.
map the instead of hexes?
Not sure.
Avalon. I don't know what it's
That's
called.
that's the mech warrior.
The
one,
Mech
isn't it?
Warrior one, yeah.
Yeah, but it started with an A. I forget
Yeah.
what it's called, but the map was squares instead of
Abaddon.
hexes. Sure,
I
that
think
sounds
it's-
about right.
Absolutely.
I see it at conventions a
Absinthe.
lot.
No. But yeah, so anyway, Red Alert Space Warfare takes the Command and Color system, which is a card-driven war game, and puts it in space. Fleet battles.
Is it still three flanks?
It's Command and Colors, so it's got a left flank, a center, and a right flank. It's card-driven, so it tells you, play a card, activate these so many units on the left or the right or the center. The thing is the thing about the Command and Color system is each one has got a different twist or a different
Right.
to bring out that flavor. And in this one, the twist is of what's called star tokens, and they're kind of like a currency in the game. And you can use those star tokens to pay for combat cards that have all kinds of effects, like ambush that gives you extra attack dice or extra movement.
It sounds a lot like maybe closest to Battle Lore than when you're
Yeah,
spending money or magic
for
points
spells.
on spells and
Right.
whatnot.
Right.
Who published this one?
Oh gosh, it's the same company that did the Great War, and I can't think of the name
And
of
I
the company
can't think
right
of
off
that
the top
one.
of my head. But anyway, it's like I said, we jumped right in and played it because I'm familiar with the Command and Color system from all the other games I've played, Ancients, Memoir 44, Battle
And that doesn't
Cry.
mean there's not a reason to keep playing the new ones. It's
no, absolutely
more
not.
substantial than getting an expansion, in my opinion.
Yeah, so we messed up some rules, here and there, because there is, some differences. But
Is there much
but
terrain
the
in
core
space?
system, well, asteroid belts, things like that
Okay.
you can go into. They give you a defensive bonus, but you could also take
Doug,
damage from them. Stuff
No
like
one
that.
can hear you when you cry in space,
when you
Okay.
cry.
or scream, or yell,
Scream.
or whatever. It is.
It's
So
great.
anyway, that's I'm looking forward to playing some more of that. Like I said, just because I love Ancients is probably my favorite,
Yeah, I agree. Ancients is my favorite as well.
and but I like Memoir 44.
Have you played any Memoir 44 Overlord, Dave?
Overlord. I played Overlord.
Yeah. Have you played any D-Day scenarios?
No, I've not played any D-Day
Oh,
scenarios.
But we're going to have some on the schedule at Charcon because we've got all
That's
this
right.
stuff to do. The D-Day scenario, which is, it takes 8 sets of the base game. So we're going to have that set up. It'll be in the schedule soon, Dave.
Yes, that's
So-
the plan. Now we need bodies. We need
Right.
people who are interested in playing. So we're going to put it out there, but we need people who want to play because it's a big undertaking to set up a game, a D-Day invasion game. Because like Travis said, it's 4 different maps. I think it's 4 different maps.
I think
But
I thought
you
it was-
can. Yeah, it might be 6 different maps. I think
It plays
it's-
up to
it's
16,
huge.
is that right?
It's huge. The thing's huge, but you can scale it down for smaller
Right.
groups. So if you only have 6 people playing, you can play 3 maps.
So what he's saying is, if you want to be part of the big experience to play the full D-Day, you and some of your friends need to sign up because we don't have enough people. We're not going to set the whole thing up. We'll still try to run it based on how many people we get, but
Is this different than
it's going to be scaled
Overlord?
down.
It's
it is a little
Overlord
different.
on steroids.
Because I own Overlord and I enjoy Overlord. 8 players, it's great.
Overlord specifically plays 8. This plays, I think, up to 16 or so.
It plays a lot. It may be 12, but regardless, you got to have the bodies. You got to have the people who are interested in playing.
So what's the breakdown on the sides? Is it
You're
like
playing
one
each-
general, 3 guys under him, 4 guys under him?
Basically, each board, each beach is its own separate. I say separate game, but it's its own game between 2 opponents. But you can have some
You can
intermingling
cross over
of the.
if you're.
Okay,
of the
so what I mean
troops.
with the breakdown
There
is,
isn't-
are they all
isn't-
drawing from their own decks?
Yes.
There's not one person
No.
divvying
Right.
out the decks.
Right.
That's a big difference from
Yeah,
Overlord.
that's a big
Yeah.
difference. Yeah.
It is.
So, but like I said, big undertaking. Just even thinking of setting it up kind of is gives
Daunting.
me the heebie-jeebies.
Yeah. But that's another one of the Command and Colors games. So
Absolutely.
if you like those and you like World War II,
Oh, yeah. I didn't mention too that the Red Alert game comes with a cloth map that wouldn't fit on this table.
that's a big map.
It is huge. It's
That
got all
is
plastic
huge.
miniatures. The battleships maybe probably 2.5 to 3 inches long each.
Wow.
Nice sculpts. It's pretty cool.
How much that cost?
It's a lot.
It's
150?
a little less than that, but it's pricey.
Not
Yeah.
much less than that.
Not much less.
That's TI4 money.
Yeah,
Yes.
that's right.
Yes.
Speaking
that's
of, play
about
TI4 with me.
Speaking of TI4, Doug, what have you played lately? Not TI4.
Not TI4, but I did find a game in my TI4 box that I've been looking for a while.
I think
Yeah,
you
you did
mentioned
mention
that.
that. Yes.
4X, a game that I think I'm the only person at this table that likes. I know you've played it. Did you play it with us, Dave? I know you
watched you play it.
So
I'm a big fan of the graphical art presentation.
It was fascinating.
all right. So the art in it is from the game designer of Root, and I love Root. I don't have any. I'm not on the fence about that game
Somewhere
at all.
between 4X and Root, he took a class or two.
Well, he didn't do the art for Root. He didn't. He's
Oh,
never
okay.
done the art for anything else.
Well, there's a reason.
I don't know why I did the art for 4X, but it's a small press game. There's a really interesting letter on the back of the box. I think you read
You
it.
got to read the back of the box.
And
It's
when
a
we say
hoot.
4X, it's FOR-EX. Just Google that and throw letter at the
It's
end.
foreign exchange.
Right. It's about exchanging currencies. And the whole back of that white box on the skateboard up there is a letter
Yeah.
thanking you for buying it, saying, why would you buy that? It's crazy, it's dry, it's boring. And they're not wrong. It is kind of dry and boring. And so I'm on the fence about it. I love a lot of heavy economic games. I like games with a lot of constraints, and you've got to find a way to be creative within that. I think a good example of that would be, in my opinion, Food Chain, but I know I'm kind of alone in that
Food Chain Magnate.
at
I
this
still haven't
table
played
too.
it.
So the reason I want to bring this game up is I can't decide how I feel about it anymore. I used to get really defensive about it because I do enjoy it, but I've played it where I've loved it, and now I've played it where I've hated it. It's not fun when you have people who aren't into it, and it's not for everybody. You just got to know that ahead of time. It is as dry as the box says. But then one night, my brother and I had one of my brother's friends over, and we let him pick out a game. And for some reason, he picked that out.
Was he blind?
No. What it was, at some point in the night, I had mentioned, we've been picking games based on theme, and some you've liked, and some you've been kind of cool on, but you've not loved anything. Maybe just go out of what you think your comfort zone is. Don't pick something on theme. And he picked that because I talked about it at some point, saying
sure.
that I liked it. He loved it more than anything we played. And we'd played some classics. We played Age of Empires 3, or I guess
Right.
it was.
Age of Discovery.
Age of Discovery. We'd played Root. We'd played Sagrada, Power Grid, a number of games that my brother and I had picked out. And this game, we had taken one of the cards out of the middle, one of these dividend-paying cards, to make it substantially shorter. And he liked it enough that we added 2 back in to make it longer. And this is a guy who just doesn't play board games. And so that was fun. But then I played it on after our live stream.
Is that his day job, foreign exchange?
No.
Banking?
He works
CPA?
he works at Lowe's.
Oh, okay.
He's a musician.
Huh.
But then we played it at the WV Fox event, and it was with guys who, unlike this guy who loved it, who also wasn't excited about it before we played it, these guys were excited about it. Larry, who played it, he had printed his own copy. Jason really
And
enjoyed it.
Just
and
as good as the original.
he said it looked better than the real version. Look, I'm sorry, guys, but I mean, it looks like a print and play game, and I've got the real one. The cards are obviously nice.
To me, it looks like a game from the late 70s, early 80s.
It looks like a die mocker kind of thing. Obviously without the components, but
Right.
that same kind of
Die Macher.
brutalist art.
Which was just re-released, right? Democker.
That's a
Was
game
it?
that I enjoy.
Huh.
Oh, I love Democker.
I don't agree that you love it because you didn't want to finish it when we played at the cabin trip.
I did want to finish that.
Who didn't want to finish
Tom spilled beer. I don't remember all over the
I thought
player
maybe it was
cards.
Dave who didn't want to finish.
Somebody didn't want to play. John Moore, maybe.
I think it was Dave.
I love Democker.
I love Democker too. It's really interesting.
I'm the one that brought it and convinced Tom that we had to play it.
Democker is a game about the German elections.
Oh, whoa.
And you'll see, like, this election, the voters are, like, really into GMOs and, like, being liberal. And so
they hate nukes. And
so
you've got to like nukes.
You've got to shift your party towards that without seeming too dishonest and get as many votes as possible. But also, like, you can kind of see the way the tides are going to go for the next region. Because you do it sequentially, one region at a time, like 12 election cycles or something 20.
Like that.
7 or 8.
7 or 8, yeah.
And so you want to get this one right, but while also setting up like the next 2 or 3 that you can see. I think you can see the current one and the next 3 or something.
I can't remember. It wouldn't be 3. I mean, I think it's probably 2 more.
Sure.
I think one's closed at any point.
While preparing yourself, right? But you can't flip too hard. So if you know, like this time, you're pro-GMO, you're liberal, anti-nuke, and next time and there's like a 4th thing you are,
Some new information.
you can only change so many of those, I
Yeah,
believe.
you can't change on a dime. You can't just flip the switch.
You can change one thing on a dime, but not 4 different things
right.
on a dime.
So you're kind of having to maneuver election to election. It's an interesting game.
For that in the game?
It's just
cards.
deciding to.
Yeah,
Oh,
it's
it's like
actions.
Role play based?
No. It's
no.
just you've got so many decisions you can do in a turn.
Okay.
Yeah, it's been years since I've played.
But anyway, we kind of got off the rails with 4X. Larry hated it, I think. Dave watched. He laughed a lot. It was interesting. It's a game where...
The reason I laughed is because we discussed this, everybody kept doing the same thing. Everybody kept buying the same...
I think I'd gone first, and everyone kept doing what I'd done.
Everybody kept buying the same currency. They would trade one currency and buy another currency, and they kept doing the same thing. And it was like if there's the 4 of us that was playing, we were doing the exact same thing each turn.
Well, here's the thing.
It was hilarious.
But everybody doing the same thing is really safe. And in real life, if real life worked like the game, everyone would make profit. But you'll never get ahead of that first person who did it.
Well,
you won't get too far behind.
There's always that, it's like who's got the bigger margin. I know, and I think the game was relatively tight at the end, if I recall.
I won, and I think the difference was the fact that I had started that trend when people started copying.
Yeah.
And the margin becomes, if I buy into one country, well, the next person sees like, oh, Doug's buying into that country. I better because I think he's going to buy into it more. But them buying into it themselves helps me by one little bit. And that little bit was what I won by, that first time that everyone copied me. Then we were in a circle we couldn't get out of. And you can break out of that circle and win hard, but you've got to do something clever. And I didn't have a reason to because I was at the front of the circle.
Right.
Or the front of the line, you know what I mean? So
I'm not going to make any circle.
I played it once.
And I think we played it quite wrong when Trav played. I don't think it would have mattered for Trav's opinion of it. Now I've got mixed opinions of it because it's not gone like that for me any other time. But seeing that it can go like that,
right?
Well,
I'm worried about it.
There's a lot of games that can happen too, where you have a great experience one game and you it's like, wow, what a great game, and then you just have a really terrible experience the next time, and it's not even necessarily
CO2 is a game like that for me.
Sometimes
like that for
Arkham
me.
Horror can be like that. Betrayal at House on the Hill can be like that.
So CO2 is an interesting game. It's a competitive game where you got to work together. You've got to design something. You've got to get a patent for it. I've got to put the infrastructure for it.
What game?
CO2. And then you've got to construct it for something to work. And it's a game where you win by making money, but we're all like green energy based companies. And they republished this recently, and I'd like to get the new one because it seems to fix some things. But if people don't keep up making green energy power plants, then non-player fossil fuel plants will come up, increasing the CO2 parts per million. And if that crosses a certain threshold, everyone loses. If it crosses a smaller threshold and then actually comes back down, then the game ends early. Otherwise, it just ends at a set number of turns. But it only works if you have that symbiotic thing. And you've got to do things, but you've got to find a way while being symbiotic to get ahead of the other people or drive them to do what you want, negotiate, that kind of thing. And I played it maybe 4 times, and twice I could have swore it was the best game ever. Negotiation was great. It worked the way it was supposed to. And then other times you get people like scratching their heads, getting confused, like refusing to cooperate and be symbiotic, and so they're doing their own thing, and then all of a sudden every power plant is coal because they're researching things that no one else wants to build. So some games just don't work.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
Well, that's enough about 4X.
Right. That is plenty.
Chris, what have you?
We talked about a lot of games there.
Tell us about something you've played lately, Chris.
I've been heavy into 40K, but everybody knows all about that, really.
No.
I don't think.
What's 40K?
I think a lot of people know the lore, but haven't played the game.
Well, you know, they just switched up to like 8th edition recently and changed up all the rules, got rid of their ballistic templates.
Wait, so you mean you have to buy new rules and new codexes and new models?
Actually, they just have like a 15-page primer, since they're British, that you can get online. Actually, you don't even need to buy the rulebook
For now.
Yeah, right.
For now, Games Workshop really does get under my skin with that crap. On the shelf back there, I've got Space Hulk 3rd edition. They swore it was the last one, and we knew it wouldn't be, right? But what I didn't expect was for 4th edition to be 90% the same.
Yeah.
And, what was it? I don't know if it was 10 years. It was about 8 years later that 4th edition came out. And there were like 2 new scenarios. So it went from like 12 to 14. And enough stuff to do, I think, the 4-player scenario it came with, which was only like 4 or 5 more minis on each side. But you couldn't just buy the difference, is the thing.
Right.
I mean, you could on eBay or whatever.
Yeah.
But they're still trying to get
booster pack.
And this thing went for like $300 for a minute whenever it was really hard to get. 3rd edition did, and now I think with 4th edition, I didn't see that because I think people are expecting it now. There's going to be a 5th.
Sure.
I'll wait till there's 6th edition when it's maybe 30% different than 3rd to buy a new copy.
Nothing wrong with being a 40K player, though.
Oh, no, I'm pretty recent into it, really. What got me was the kit bashing and the miniature painting. I love kit bashing a mini. Just like getting like 3 kits, and I mean all kits are orc kits.
So I take it you're into painting, right? Considering everything else you're into.
Yeah, I have a degree in painting. That's what I went to school for.
I've only painted Space Hulk, and then I painted part of Dreadfleet. Dreadfleet was fun to paint. It's really weird stuff.
Anything else? Anything else you played?
I just got into Gaslands. For WivaCon, we do a monthly gaming, in the middle of the month, and we just picked up Gaslands. And
so what is that?
It tickles,
for our listeners.
It really scratches my kit bash itch too, because you basically they sell manuals. They're in the business of selling a manual. You buy a Matchbox car and you go get some guns from some toy, glue it on there. You're ready to go.
It's post-apocalyptic.
Yeah, post-apocalyptic.
Mad Max type.
Pretty much, yeah.
Now,
they've got their own kind of narrative, like, Mars is where all the rich people go, but Mars might be a lie, all that kind of crap.
So now I haven't actually, I've seen it played, and similar to, it looked like similar to games like X-Wing.
It feels like X-Wing.
Or
the movement templates.
Yeah, with the movement templates.
Once you
put
pick one
down,
up, you have to use that.
Oh,
one.
okay.
There's no fudging and let you pick them up.
That's a little different.
Back. You have to know how
so
to
if
drive.
you take the tight curve, that's what you're going to play.
Stuck with it.
You're stuck with it.
Yeah.
I've not played it.
Whether it's a good move or not.
It typically, like, I was... right off the very first game, dude comes off the line. I didn't really have any options. I was like, screw it. I just rammed the guy. Like, gunned it in 4th gear, just tail ending. Like, yeah.
I've not played it, but I did about 20 seconds of stop motion with Manny's stuff.
Did you watch our Kickstarter video with?
No.
Yeah, you have to go back and watch it.
Manny's cars are amazing.
I went up to his wife's classroom. We set it up on a couple kids' desks with some sand, and then did a couple scenes. A nice little chase in the middle of our thing, and that's a game appropriate for this year's theme.
Yeah, which is post-apocalyptic. But I think Manny plans to bring his Gasland stuff.
That was my next question.
Some games.
Because I want to try it.
Yeah,
if it's like X-Wing, it can't be that hard to pick
we'll
up.
have to get it on the schedule.
Right.
We need to get it on the schedule.
Manny should do a panel kit bashing his Matchbox cars. Like,
Oh, they're sweet. His stuff is sweet. There was a lot more to choose from than I put in the video. I think I picked the best. But if anyone didn't catch it, it's like Fury Road car chase in a board game or in a miniatures game, I guess.
Yeah.
But it doesn't have to look like that. But I've seen it look like that.
Yeah, like I said, I didn't actually play it, but it looks cool. It's got it looks like it's very easy to pick up and understand the gameplay.
There's like, once you get the dynamic for shifting and that you need to be shifting in order to be able to do anything in the later phases. Like if you're not in fifth gear and fifth phase hits, you can't do anything.
Right. It's like impulses sort of.
You better be geared up.
Right.
You better be gearing up as the phases evolve.
Right.
Or you're going to be left behind.
Yep.
Interesting.
Awesome.
That sounds like the shrinking eye of the storm in a battle royale game. Although I don't really understand the context of the gearing up.
We had a few car guys there, and they got it. You know, like they're not typically board gamers, but the shift dynamic of the mechanic, they're like, oh, okay, this makes sense. And immediately they were getting like the game mechanics where I'm like struggling trying to get it all in my head.
Well, back in the old days, in the Hex and Chit days, the Star Trek Starfleet battles, it went on impulses. So as you increased your speed, you'd call out, okay, impulse 1, impulse 2, and you would go through. And so like if you were moving at impulse 8, you would activate 8 times during the round, essentially. Okay. So you might go on impulses 2, 4, 8, 10, 12, or whatever. And then someone who was going faster would activate on more impulses. So it sounds like it's something very similar.
Yeah.
So the higher the gear, the more actions you get to do during the turn.
Yeah.
Or you just sit there and watch the other people blow past you and shoot you as you sit there and take it.
I had a pickup truck with a tank turret and some buggies, and the other dudes had high performance cars.
Yeah.
And by the 5th or 6th phase, they were about 2 templates ahead of us.
Yeah. Is it a race then?
Well, there's 4 gates, and there are weapons, and your weapons don't activate till you get to the first gate. So that first race to the gate is just everybody ramming the crap out of each other. And then
I didn't know if it was like demo derby or a linear race or a circular race.
It's free form. Like you have your gates, and we use 40K terrain, so we just refinery, and then just you set up the gates in a path that you kind of want, because it is like plays like X-Wing. You could do a linear path, but
I kind of get what you're saying, though. It's a free-form thing, but there are like these gates that you've got to fit through.
Yeah, and they're directional.
Gotcha.
Yeah,
they are directional.
Yes.
The only car game that I've played that kind of got shifting right was like Rallyman, but it's a weird game in other cases. But it's a racing game where you care about your tires, you care what gear you're on for certain corners.
But you don't have guns.
People
you don't
compare this to Car Wars all the time.
Car
Steve
Wars
Jackson's
is
Car
right.
Wars is
I think it had like that impulse movement too.
Right on.
Car Wars.
I hear that. I haven't played it, but everybody's like, "Oh yeah, it's like Car Wars."
Just how old I am. I was when I was a kid in Houston. I went to Alcon, OWL, which was at Rice University, and Steve Jackson Games was there play testing Car Wars for the first time. It hadn't even been published yet. I was probably 10 years old at the time, and I still remember that. Yeah, I actually got to play test some of the original game.
Small cons in Texas are how you get to meet Steve Jackson. Apparently, he loves.
He used to come to Origins every year and run a giant Lego pirate ship game.
God, I got to
Remember
talk to him a little bit at
He was
Mysticon.
there every year.
So I finally get to meet Steve Jackson at Mysticon this last February. I've carried around Ogre at Gencon, the original Ogre. My dad had the old Ogre in the
You have
pamphlet.
in the plastic,
the Ziploc bag.
Sure.
Carried around for 3-4 years, never ran into him. He comes right to the vending table at Mysticon, and we're talking about some stuff, just BS. And I've been trying to catch up with you at Gen Con. He goes, "Oh, it's a small world." And I said, "Yeah, but I wouldn't want to paint it." And that's a Stephen Wright reference.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of talking gaming, me and Steve Jackson talk Stephen Wright jokes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and then Half-Baked. We're suddenly talking about Half-Baked instead of
Did he
gaming.
sign your copy of Ogre?
I didn't have it with
No,
me.
see, you screwed that up.
I know, yeah. I carried that thing around.
So Steve Jackson is your Eric Lang.
Yeah. That's
Right on.
Eric Lang. He was the guy I kept chasing for years, trying to get a signed copy of a game, and I would never see him, and then Trav would send me a picture on his
Would that
through
be
text of
Midgard
him,
or something
him at
else?
the bar hanging out with Eric Lang.
Yep.
Him. Guess who I was on the elevator with? Eric Lang.
So
Guess
was
who
that
I saw
Midgard
walking
or
in the
what
hall?
game?
It was
Midgard.
Yeah, Midgard is the one.
All right, it was Midgard.
Yeah. Finally got it signed.
Do you prefer that or Blood
yeah.
Rage?
Midgard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think I do too.
Trav?
I think so he made the Bloodborne card game, which I don't like, but is he making the Bloodborne board game It
No idea.
seems
I
more
don't know.
interesting.
Sure.
I don't know. I mean,
Anyway.
I don't know.
Trav, what have you been
You
playing
know,
lately?
I've been playing a lot of Queen games because we're getting ready for Origins, and we've sort of already talked about Copenhagen and Luxor. So.
Copenhagen, I'll enjoy.
Yeah.
That's cool.
The Merlin expansion for Arthur, that's new. We'll have that. It really changes a lot about Merlin.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very good, very good implementation. So, been playing a lot of those. So,
Yep. Me too.
yeah.
All right.
So before we're done, we definitely don't want to miss out on talking about Chris is involved with what's called WivaCon, which is Withville, Virginia convention, and it happens the week after, 2 weeks after Charcon. Yeah, we're the
Charcon's
12th to the
12th to the
14th, so you're the
14th.
26th to the 28th. So it's actually
Okay.
it's 2 weeks.
So yeah, I'm doing Charcon, then with Wivacon,
You got a whole weekend off.
and then Gencon is the weekend after
That's
Wivacon.
3 cons in 4 weeks. No
Yeah, I
big
know,
deal.
like what? I know better, but I'm not listening
Right.
to my brain. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's all right.
So
You'll be okay.
it's July
okay.
26th to the 28th. You want to tell us anything about WivaCon?
Yeah, man. It's only about 5 or 6 years old. We were gaming one night, and somebody's like, "Hey, man, we need a con in Withville," and nobody else had done it, and somebody came up with the idea. So that's the curse of a good idea. You have to follow through.
That's pretty close to how I think all conventions start.
Yeah.
My dad named it, because he's been dragging me to, Rovacon, Shivacon, all the ones down in Virginia since I was a kid. So he's like, all right, Withville, Virginia, it's Wivacon. And it, we use the wyvern or the wyvern for our mascot. But we're primarily literary focused. Like, we use the con as a non-profit fundraiser to basically hand out books. Like, if there's a parade in our town, instead of handing out candy, we've got a wagon of books. We at the charity show at Christmas at the local dinner theater, we set up a big table of books, and if a kid wants an armload of books, I give them an armload of books. Like, if they're going to read it, they can have it. And that's what we do. People think it's a for-profit convention, but it's actually just a massive fundraiser so we can buy a bunch of books to hand out throughout the rest of the year.
That's awesome.
We're a nonprofit too. I don't know if you knew that.
Right on.
Yeah. Our nonprofit is basically we take the money and pay our bills.
Yeah.
And generally
we don't give any kids any books.
we're happy if we've got money left to put towards the deposit of next year. And I mean, with any show, it makes you more efficient if you have an operating budget.
Yeah, it helps. We
big-
typically break even.
A big thing that's helped us with having an operating budget of being able to do things leading up to the show is we started doing a Kickstarter, which happens back earlier in the spring, and those funds are a good injection to give us operating capital. So
Right on. Yeah, I need a capital city to base my con out of.
There you go.
I'm kind of in the boonies a little bit.
Yeah, that's all right. Sounds like an awesome thing you guys are doing down there, though.
We're at the crossroads of 77 and 81, so it's like,
So you say you buy books for kids, right?
yeah,
How big of an area do you cover for
Withville, like
So just
the
this
Withville
not-
parades and
Okay, I gotcha.
yeah.
all the kids in Withville have like 3 or 4 bookshelves worth of books in their house.
I
Oh, okay.
hope so. God,
How many?
I want.
What's the population there? I mean, what are we talking?
I mean, I don't know, 10, 15,000. It's not a lot. I
Okay.
mean, yeah, the
I
surrounding
got you. I'm just
counties
trying to
might
figure
have
it out.
2,000 in the surrounding counties each, and
I mean, that's important. Even when I was a kid, I didn't really have a good library where I was from in Madison. They had a library, but it was hard to get to. So I like that you did that. I was a kid that got in trouble for like reading in class when I'd finish something early.
Yeah.
I'd get
How
grounded
dare you
from
read?
reading.
Same.
I'd
Yep.
get grounded from reading. Go out and do some yard work.
That happened to me.
Yep.
That happened to me. I had this class where they made us play this like hotel management video game. It was a business class, and I found there was a fast forward button, and then I found that I could like use the best toilet paper and these synthetic roses, and like I just churned out money, and finished it with a few million to spare, and so I just started reading books. And I didn't know what to do for the rest of the semester. So I just kept reading books and didn't tell the teacher. And I got in a lot of trouble for reading books through my life.
As you should have.
Teachers hate it when you read books.
Yeah, that's terrible.
I
man.
know,
Reading books awful. Kids,
I hope this teacher's
don't read
listening
books.
because it really actually bothered me.
Don't cheat on video games and play books.
That's right.
I didn't
books.
cheat. I
Read
just
books.
did well.
Yeah, you exploited a rule within the game.
So Doug is a cheater. Okay. Yes.
Exploiter. All right, so before we go, we want to talk about a contest we have coming up, right?
That's it.
We're going to do a contest.
Sorry, I thought you
we're
were
going to
pointing.
give
My brain wasn't
away.
working.
We're going to give away a board game, right? That's valued retail value of about $50.
Yep.
50 MSRP.
So right, and our winner will get to pick the game. We'll buy it for them, ship it right to their house. And basically, we're going to try and grow the subscribers for our YouTube channel because we not only do Charcast, but we do a lot of live streams there, and we do other videos. So we want to grow the subscriber base. So we're going to give away one, and the way you'll enter when we put the Doug?
Oh, just one.
All right. So the way you'll enter is when we put it up on Facebook with the rules, you'll share the post, and we'll give you some instructions because you want to make sure your settings are set to be public so that we can
just make sure we can see it. That's
right,
it.
so we can see it. And then for every 15 subscribers, new subscribers on the YouTube channel, we will add another game. Now, it won't be another $50 MSRP game. It'll be from our stock of games that we have. But we'll give away games. So we'll draw another winner and give away another game for every 15 new subscribers.
We'll work with the first one to find a
if-
game that they actually suits them.
Right.
So if Facebook shares an entry and 15 subscribers is another game.
Right, there's another winner, so multiple winners. So watch for the details of that on our Facebook page. Should be coming sometime in the next week or two.
Yeah, we'll probably record an explanation of the rules right after this.
All right, anybody have anything else?
No.
All right, Chris, thanks so much for joining us. We
Yeah, it's
appreciate
awesome,
it.
Appreciate
man. I'm, like I said, looking forward to the panels, looking forward to seeing some of your cosplay, costuming, whatever you want to call
Yeah,
it.
I'm not really cool with the cosplay word. I don't know why.
That's all right.
Oh yeah, it's
I
such
love
a
Charcon.
taboo word.
It's been 2 years since I've been to a Charcon, and I miss it, man.
Oh, we're glad to have
I
you
really
back.
do.
Yeah,
love
we're
it.
looking
So you've
forward
been to
to
the
it.
Clay Center once then for
No.
us.
No,
He hasn't been since.
I guess it's been 3 years then.
And he's been to bonus round. a
This is
number
our
of
third
Yeah.
Clay Center year, so it's been 3.
I've been to more bonus rounds than Charcon.
Okay. Well, we're running out of time.
Yep.
All right.
All right. Thanks for watching. We'll see you soon.